Welcome back to another episode. This is a very special survival guide toolkit episode. We are talking about butt stuff with Alex Hall. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Max. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
This is all I talk about
Really?
all the time. Butt stuff, gut stuff, butt and gut stuff. That's all.
Thanksgiving at your family's home must be really interesting.
Yeah. I've done like so many articles actually around holiday stuff with like Queerty, and Out is actually doing a Christmas article with us.
Before I read your bio, how many of those articles had the pun holidays?
Oh my God.
All of them?
Every single one of them. Yeah. You know, it works. Keep it classic.
Alex Hall is the co-founder and host of The Bottoms Digest, a platform dedicated to teaching you how to bottom safely and prioritize your pleasure. From your mouth to your bum. Is that the official tagline? From your mouth to your bum? He is also a sexual health educator, butt and gut recipe developer. So it tastes good. You know you have taste buds down there. That's what I heard. Anyways, he's a body autonomy activist and a husband to a fellow Scorpio. I'm not a Scorpio. They're both Scorpios.
Yes.
Born in Louisiana, raised in Houston, he is a heavily influenced person by his Southern roots and is very inspired to make sex education accessible no matter where you come from or what you get into in your bedroom.
Wow.
He now lives in Chicago with his husband and future dog. Name pending?
Name pending.
What's the name you're fighting for?
So we have a list on our phone. It's like shared note. We actually just had a fallout with a family member because she stole a name from the note.
Oh, rude.
So we've locked down the note. It was Reba. She took the name Reba. We made her change the dog name because
Reba Barkentire?
Yeah, we're very like, we love our country divas. Okay. So I was like, hell no, you're changing the name. She changed it to Bria.
Is that just dyslexic Reba?
Yeah, it's dyslexic Reba. That's what we said. But you know what? She can have
like
Bria.
The water filter?
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't even think about it like that. But as long as it's not Reba. So we stopped sharing the names on our list.
You locked it. You have been blocked from accessing this Google Doc. Before we get into these really important topics, I have assembled a list of rapid fire questions for this audience to get to know you better in a segment called Who the Hell Are You? Ready?
Yes.
Name?
Alex Hall.
Zodiac sign?
Scorpio. You said that.
What are you an expert in?
Assholes.
How do you identify on the gender and sexuality spectrum today?
I don't know about my gender at the moment, and I actually don't know about sexuality. I like polite people. That's my gender at this point.
What is your most favorite animal?
Dogs.
Least?
I don't think I have a least. Humans.
Cheers. What is the children? I think you said earlier.
Yes, children are my least favorite.
What is the last thing that you ate?
Really bad huevos rancheros this morning.
That's disappointing to get bad Mexican in Los Angeles.
Houston makes it better.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie.
How many caffeinated drinks do you drink per day?
This is my 5th.
Caffeinated drink of choice?
Cold brew. Black cold brew.
Black cold brew?
Yeah.
Biggest pet peeve?
Oh my God. Pick me energy. People that are pick me's. The whole like just spotlight crap.
We'll get into that.
Okay, work.
What is your dream vacation destination?
My family's from Italy, so I love going back to Italy. I've been many times. So yeah.
What is your favorite sport or game?
Ooh, I hate sports.
Great.
Yeah, gross.
Game? None of it?
I love Scrabble. I'm not gonna lie. My husband's a really great speller, so he's fun to play with.
I will whoop your ass at Scrabble. What is your favorite thing about queer bars?
Cheap ass drinks.
Cheap ass drinks.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a virtual hellscape and 10 being an absolute utopia, how are things looking for queer people in America today?
Did you say 10 is utopia?
10 is good, 1 is bad.
Negative 0.5 at the moment.
Okay. What is the last item you misplaced?
These douches actually, because I almost forgot them.
You don't know where they've been?
Yeah, I almost didn't bring them.
Where were they?
That's a great question. They were under a pile of something in my office. I have a lot of piles of crap in my office.
They were
I'm not
under
very
other
organized.
douches?
Yeah, right. The other 1,000.
What was the last thing you were super mad about?
The election.
What was the last thing that made you cry?
The election.
I think that's been like the last 5 episodes answers.
-5 was my answer about utopia, all that crap.
What is the location of the worst date that you've ever had?
That's a really good question. I think at a gay bar,
Hmm.
but maybe even a Mexican restaurant in Texas, now that I
Okay.
really think about it.
There's a lot of common themes coming back with this conversation already.
Yeah, now that you think.
Last question. What is your most prized possession?
God, it's already been 20 questions. My most prized possession, my husband's bought me a lot of jewelry before. I know it's kind of cliche, but a lot of the jewelry, actually this necklace is one of those things. It's an evil eye that he bought me.
An evil eye?
Yeah, I'm an ambivert, so like this does a really good job keeping any kind of like energy away from me that I'm not feeling today.
What is an ambivert?
Someone in between an introvert and an extrovert.
Oh,
So,
okay.
see, I'd whip your ass at Scrabble, please.
I would have probably tried that word.
Actually,
And
as
now
an
that you call me out
ambivert,
and look it
might
up.
be more than 7 letters, but that's Scrabble.
Yeah, but that happens. You can,
Yeah, but that's so
if you have
rare.
am, you can put bivert.
True. That's
Or if
really
you have
hard.
vert, you can throw ambi in front of it.
You're
For
right.
those of you not watching the YouTube version of this podcast, I'm using my fingers a lot to show where the letters would be, but it's really not that helpful, so you're not missing much.
Yeah.
Hair products have come a long way. You can get real results with a solution that's both effective and leaves your hair and scalp looking healthier than ever. I'm talking about Scandinavian Biolab's Biopilixin. That's plant-powered, drug-free formula that's also clinically tested, which is rare. The plant growth factors in Biopilixin help to extend the hair's growth phase, which is key to keeping your locks. It also helps increase blood flow to your scalp and help extend the follicles for thicker, more resilient strands. What's the proof? In a clinical trial, Biopilixin showed early results in about 45 days. 77% of users had a reduction in shedding at the 6-week mark. By 150 days, that went up to 93%, plus 73% had a measurable increase in hair density. Scandinavian Biolabs also takes the risk out of the investment. Their products are backed by a 150-day money-back guarantee. If you don't see results in 5 months, get a full refund. Start today with 20% off the hair activation routine and any other products from the Scandinavian Biolabs using code MAXEMERSON. Go to scandinavianbiolabs.com. If you're like me, you want to fuel your body with the best possible ingredients, whether you're working out, staying active, or just looking to maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's why I'm excited to share with you Peori's Whey Protein. Peori's Whey Protein is sourced from grass-fed cows, ensuring that you're getting a clean, pure, and high-quality protein. What sets this protein powder apart is its simplicity and commitment to quality. There are no artificial sweeteners, fillers, or unnecessary additives, just pure protein goodness with a delicious natural bourbon vanilla flavor. Plus, it's sweetened with organic coconut sugar, so it tastes amazing without all the junk. Peori protein powder delivers 21 grams of protein per serving, helping to support muscle recovery, energy levels, and overall wellness. It's great to know that Peori's Whey is certified by the Clean Label Project, ensuring it's free from harmful contaminants like heavy metals and pesticides. Head over to Peori.com and use my promo code MAXEMERSON. That's PUORI.com/MaxEmerson and use promo code MaxEmerson today. Let's talk about the Bottoms Digest.
Ooh, my favorite topic.
What got you into that?
So I started the Bottoms Digest 4 years ago, but I thought of it 6 years ago. I worked in reproductive rights for 5-6 years during the last Trump presidency. And during my time during that, I was the sex educator on our staff. I did all of the graphics, our website content, our social media content. And I loved it, but it was actually kind of like an intersection of me talking about trans people in reproductive rights that kind of got me moving in that direction, where I was like, I kind of want to do more LGBTQIA stuff. Like, I feel like this is not for me as much. Like, I feel like it's not putting a fire under me. And I was cooking in my New York City apartment because I used to live in New York. And I was like cooking my 300 square foot apartment, which is so rare for New York. People don't cook there. And I had a gay friend over and they were talking about starving before bottoming. And I started talking to them. I was like, I've never done that. I've never, ever done that.
I thought that was just a joke.
You're right. And unfortunately, that's why I wanted to come on your show. Cause like when young people see these things, I think they think that's serious. So it was kind of like a light bulb moment at that time, but I did not have the space to start the kitchen, to start the show. So that's kind of how we started, was to combat starving before bottoming and like put that to rest. And then going into like our second year, it kind of pivoted more into general advice for you to become more aware of trigger foods, your own body, how to loosen up, stress, like all these other things. So we've really pivoted. But yeah, it's really just sex ed is getting worse and worse and worse. So like we kind of took the reins and like took charge on that.
What are some of the things that you've learned kind of in having an audience? What's the feedback been like?
Oh, feedback's been fabulous. I did just find on YouTube where all the negative comments go. So for like 3 years.
They buried it recently. Like last couple of years, they make it harder.
Truly. So for the last 3 years, I've been like, wow, feedback's been so positive. And then like literally 3 months ago, I found where all the negative shit goes. And I was like, oh, wow, there's like a hidden folder of bad stuff.
Nobody tell them about those dark web blogs where they say mean things about each other. Have you discovered those yet?
I do avoid those. I'm aware of that
it'll
stuff.
rot your soul. It's just like the comment section.
Yeah, there's no point in going to any of that stuff, but it's usually very, very positive, and I love hearing how much the information helps people, because that's like what it's all about. It's not about clout, ego, fame. It's really just about like bottoming didn't hurt.
Providing a resource, because they're not teaching this in school.
And they never will.
They never, ever will. Any teacher that tries to teach that in school will get arrested.
Yeah, my like running joke, and it's not even a joke, but it's just like, even if sex ed was half as good as it needed to be, it would not include anything like this. In like anal sex, bottoming, stretching out, any kind of health, like anything that's useful and healthy, it's not going to be in there anytime soon.
Anything practical?
Anything practical.
What are some bottoming barriers? I've heard that term a bit.
I love that.
On your page. What is a bottoming barrier?
So a major one is not relaxing. That's the biggest one. People jumping in too quickly. So like the thing is a lot of people don't take the time to stretch out, and you don't even need a lot of time. You need 10 to 15 minutes most of the time to stretch out your sphincters. You have two anal sphincters, an external and an internal. That's your anus. And if you feel any pain during bottoming, that's where you're feeling the pain. It's in your sphincters. So once you stretch those out enough with a finger, that's all you need is a finger. That's the biggest barrier.
So what is a barrier to bottoming? Like common mistakes, things that make it unenjoyable? How do you define a barrier to bottoming? I love that you jumped straight into stretching though. That was lovely.
So I think that is the barrier though, is that people don't know that they should be stretching out more before jumping the gun.
So it's just anything that prohibits you from enjoying bottoming.
Yeah. And like, that's just, people jump the gun too quickly. I can't stress that enough.
They get excited.
They start to beat themselves up. Like, why couldn't I take that big dick? And I'm like, because you couldn't handle your pinky, babe. Like you
broke yourself before you got going. You got to take a step back.
So that's a major barrier. Lack of education is obviously the biggest barrier there. But I'm hoping that we're slowly dismantling that and teaching people about these things, because I think that I have 50-year-olds hit me up all the time about how much of this information is stuff that they've never heard about before, how much it's changed their whole bottoming game. Yeah, truly. So it's just an information barrier, really.
One of the catchphrases I've seen from you is anyone can bottom.
Anyone can bottom.
What does that mean?
I just told your team that before we
You did. That was the first thing he walked in. He's like, hi, I'm Alex. Anyone can bottom.
So anyone can bottom because like basically if you have a butt, you can put something in it.
Okay.
And
I have a list of objects we're going to go over later, and you can let me know.
Like your book. So when I started the Bottoms Digest, my very first video was anyone can bottom, not just gay men. That was like literally what I said in the first video. And I said that on purpose because of my background in reproductive rights, where I was talking about trans people getting left out of the conversation all the time. Because in reproductive rights, people would always be like, oh, it's a women's issue. All women should have access to healthcare. And I was like, but trans men also can get pregnant. And so when I started the Bottoms Digest, it was really important to really say these things right away and not like clean up house a year later saying the wrong thing.
Right.
So I say anyone can bottom because now 4 years later, half of our audience down the line are women. We have just as many women followers as male followers. We have a huge trans audience. Yeah. They peg the shit out of their boyfriends.
That's okay. So it's the pegging crowd.
They peg them. They put things up their boyfriends' butts.
Are they like sending clips of you to their boyfriend being like, see, I told you?
I'm glad they don't. Thank you. Please do not. But don't get me banned either.
Hey, maybe their boyfriend's thinking about you when they're getting pegged.
That's fine. Yeah. But don't send it to me. But if you need advice, which they do send me lots of things being like, hey, that really worked. I'm like, yeah, do it again. Teach them a lesson.
Oh. What are the first steps to approaching educating listeners about pleasure and safety in the bedroom? So where do you start with a noob? That's
a really interesting question. Erase everything you've learned from porn. I think that's the first thing.
Good rule.
Yeah, because sex ed is so bad and it's not going to look any better anytime soon, unfortunately. It's going to be channels like ours that really lead the way for the next few years doing this work. And going into the bedroom, because I actually talked about this on a podcast the other day. It's the same thing with drugs. Making drugs illegal isn't going to stop people from getting drugs. And making sex ed illegal and making sex ed hard to get and
just diminishes the quality of the sex.
We're just going to go on the computer and watch porn and find out other ways like we did when we were probably teenagers. And now we have this wrong image of what sex is actually like going into the bedroom. So that's why on day one, it just becomes like a shame thing, that more shame just keeps compounding where it's like, oh, that could have been better. I could have done that better. Oh, there was a mess. Oh, like
the shame about not being able to bottom appropriately.
Just anything.
Or just bottoming in the first place. Because even when people come out, there's that second level of, okay, but what if I like when I first came out, my brother came to me and he was like, it's cool that you're gay and all. I just hope you're not the bitch. It's like, great. Thank you.
So you hate feminism and
it's Florida. Everyone's on their own journey. He's come around in a lot of ways.
Texas's redneck cousin.
Yeah, it's all. I say we out Texas sometimes.
Oh yeah, y'all sure do.
But the point is it's all a conversation that's actively happening between a lot of people. Do you have to address? Do you primarily address the logistical aspects of bottoming, or do you talk about kind of the shame and that sort of bullshit associated with it? We
do both, for sure. We talk about both all the time, especially the logistics when we're talking about actually getting down and dirty and there are actually proper logistics to having great anal sex. Like I said, jumping the gun, you don't want to start taking bigger things, even toys or anything, until you've done a little bit of work with a finger or something, because you can actually make yourself tighter. Your muscles can, just like when you work out, if you just go straight to squatting 400 pounds, you're going to blow out your muscles and they're going to become tighter than ever.
That's actually a great comparison, because if you just go straight to squatting 400 pounds, you might blow out your asshole.
Literally, you'll get a really gnarly hemorrhoid. Yeah.
Where they
what's that called? Yeah, the prolapse. I look at these photos all the time. I also work with a gastroenterologist doctor, so I see these things all the time.
I was just really morbid in high school.
Oh,
so I've seen them too.
So you were looking at different things.
Oh yeah, I mean rotten.com back in the day.
Oh my God.
We were foul.
I forgot about.
We all traumatized ourselves completely voluntarily just because it was there.
Do you know if that still exists? Rotten.com.
We're going to find out.
I know. I'm like,
it's for the best. It's like those mean chat blogs. Just don't go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I got kind of off track, but the logistics matter and the shame stuff is something that is still very much so getting unpacked. But I think when the people land on our page and see us talking about it, I think they start to take a step back and think about their own experiences, and that what they've seen in porn is a major disconnection of what's actually happening in life. Even on OnlyFans, I have friends that have OnlyFans accounts and they edit out all the squishing sounds from lube and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's unfortunate.
The squishing sounds are the best part.
You are not using enough lube if there are not crazy ass squishy sounds all the time.
I know people that don't use any and they're okay with it, but maybe they've got special powers.
No, they don't.
No.
Or they're lying. But
interesting.
Yeah, that's so bad.
I always just assumed everybody was kind of different. And
yeah, the anus does not have self-lubrication abilities, so you have to use lube back there, or you could get a pretty gnarly anal fissure. So always use lube.
An anal fissure, for anyone who doesn't know, is when you have a tear in the lining of your Anus.
Okay,
Oh, I thought you were
that
gonna say.
too. So the same thing. Same thing. It hurts pretty bad, and you'll know if you have one. It feels like glass in your ass.
Let's talk about that.
Like,
Let's say we've tried bottoming, we got too excited, or the guy we picked wasn't listening appropriately and
that
wasn't
part.
gentle, and you now have an anal fissure, or you just drink too much cold brew and not enough water, and you've given yourself one from dehydration and constipation.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Heal. You have to heal. Like, I know how many people get annoyed about that answer, and people want to rush and just have sex again and all that, but you are going to make it worse. You can get more anal fissures on top of the one you have. You can
Scar tissue.
You can get scar tissue, which you'll
STIs
have to
are-
get surgically removed, which will put you out of bottoming for a long time. And also something really interesting that the GI doctor I work with is if you don't have the right surgeon that doesn't align with your lifestyle, they might not be thinking that you're using your anus to have sex with.
Well, let's not talk about surgical solutions until we've tried everything else here first.
Right,
I
so-
like the theory with surgery of like, boom, you've had surgery.
Yeah.
Now what? You have to recover for 4 months. So
Yeah.
let's pretend you had surgery.
Yeah.
How long does someone need to recover at minimum if they've got a serious
So
fissure?
I'm not a doctor, so like that definitely depends, but your doctor would probably recommend at least a month.
A month. You're out of the game for a month.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
So use that pretty little mouth. That's what I always say.
Oh.
Like I really do think that the times that you can't bottom, if you're healing from like a hemorrhoid, I really don't think you should have sex while you have a hemorrhoid either. But like while you're healing, that's a great time to practice foreplay, do all your other stuff.
Like when you're blind, all of your other senses.
Yes, literally.
Be the daredevil of
Yes.
the naked time.
Practice being a side for a solid month, and you'll.
Sounds terrible.
I know. I think it's fun. I have lots of great videos about blowjobs, rimming, all that kind of stuff too.
You've got all of these resources for.
All on YouTube.
Where does humor come into this?
Okay, so humor, I actually learned this when I worked in reproductive rights. I thought, we're all very tired of how crazy things are all the time and how serious it is all the time. And like,
Oh,
yes,
you don't like living in a constant state of emergency?
truly, I don't. And also, I can't really take anything seriously. That's just like who I am. But I think when you bring humor into it, especially with sex, because sex can be really goofy a lot of the time, it's like when you bring that in, it just makes it more humane and easy to digest, and just it makes it not so serious. Because every time I like work with clinics and stuff and I look at their content, it's so serious and it just doesn't speak to people, in my opinion. So when you make it funny, you break that barrier and you make it a lot easier to be like, yeah, it's nothing to be that serious about.
The rule of thumb with horror movies, we learned this in script analysis, is they always make you laugh right before the most terrifying
Yes.
thing happens in order to open you up, in order to stick the knife in. That's not how you stab. I haven't stabbed anybody in a
Yeah.
minute, so please forgive my terrible homosexual stabbing. But the idea is that you've convinced someone to let their guard down, and
Right.
now they're exposed, as opposed to like the jumpy things happening.
Yeah. So ours is to open you up so you can take an average to above average dick. And like, so you laugh to open up and then it's easier. So
Oh no, are you that guy that's cracking jokes during sex?
no. But I'm saying like sometimes when you're fucking, like when you're using lube and stuff and you flip around and all that, it can be funny. Things happen that are funny.
Oh, sure,
and-
but like wisecracking, like
Oh, no.
Seinfeld humor,
No,
this
that's-
is not the time
that's
for that.
corny.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Well, it's just because people are nervous and they're just trying to lighten the mood. I've done it once or twice, but it's like, okay, I'm stopping at 2 jokes.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what the joke is. Like,
I don't know if I should put my mouth on it or feed it a peanut. That's usually when they kick you out.
yeah, that's a fine joke.
Let's talk about grandma's cooking. What does that have to do with bottoming?
Oh my God. That's an interesting segue. R.I.P. Grandma, I love you. So
Did you come up with this before she passed? Was she?
she passed out before I came up with this. Yeah, but she was a fag hag for sure.
So she would have loved it.
She would have loved it.
She would have
big
like
time.
emailed you tips and pointers.
Yeah, like so my granny from Louisiana is she was an incredible cook, blue ribbon state champion Louisiana cook. She's who I learned how to cook from.
It's
She's
spicy,
also
isn't it?
very.
Oh, God.
But also we can get into that and if you want to next. But I really do think that I learned so much about pleasure from food and being together and with family and cooking for boyfriends and my husband now. And like there's a major tie between romance and sex and food and all these things. And I'm really grateful to have learned how to cook for my granny because she was just so good at all of that. And
so it's one of your love languages.
Absolutely. And my grandpa, he would always joke that her cooking was like basically like a love potion for him all the time.
Like oysters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She made hella oysters all the time. But like,
isn't guacamole testicle sauce? Wasn't that the original meaning of the word?
I
Newest thought of
never heard that.
Aphrodisiac. Yeah. I guess food makes anyone horny. There was also a Seinfeld about that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but also like, I think if you can cook well for someone too, that would make me horny. I'm like,
it demonstrates serious value.
Yeah. I also like, before my husband and including my husband, but before him, if I knew I was getting serious with you, I'd invite you over and like you would sit at the table while I was like cooking because I thought it was like my version of pole dancing.
I threw them into the ocean to see if they were cool.
Very different.
Trial by water.
Yeah, trial by water. Mine was like, I'm just going to show off right here in the kitchen.
Okay.
And you're going to watch the whole time.
It's almost a love bombing.
Yeah.
This is what you get.
And then you get to eat it when we're done. And then we're going to go do other nasty stuff when we're done.
Do you make any accommodations or like feed yourself any differently than you would when you cook for other people? Are there some considerations to take when talking about bottoming?
Totally.
This is the bottoming survival guide today.
Yeah. So we talk about trigger foods all the time on the Bottoms Digest.
What's that?
So trigger foods are the foods that make you feel like crap 30 minutes to an hour after eating them. And they're different for everyone.
Just in general.
Just in general. There are 8 billion of us on this planet, global warming, ultra-processed foods. There's a million factors into why we all have different gut health. And our gut bacteria is hyper-specific to each one of us. So you really have to get in tune with what your body doesn't agree with. Some people really have iron stomachs and they can handle stuff. I can handle spicy food so well. It never hurts my stomach. I eat very, very spicy food.
Oh, interesting. Because I'll have to like lower the spice level, but not necessarily for my mouth.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing...
Otherwise, I'm like, do I have an STI?
Oh my God. No.
I didn't.
Yeah.
That time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Or at least you're getting tested. And that's all that really matters. See, like it never impacts my bottoming, nothing. But the minute I eat a piece of broccoli, game over for the whole day. So like broccoli, cream cheese, like I've been really in tune with my diet for years because I'm lactose intolerant. But even then, certain dairies hurt my stomach and certain ones don't. Mm-hmm. So it's like, once you really get in tune with your trigger foods, you know what to make if you know you're going to be getting down and dirty. So like I tell people all the time, I was in New York last week with my best friend who I'm actively not having sex with. So I'm absolutely tearing up food while I'm there.
So you do modify what you eat?
It just depends. Like, so if I'm like at home, I'll ask my husband like, hey, are you feeling it? And he'll be like, no. And I'm like, great. Well, we're having nachos tonight then.
Okay. But dairy.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's like, even if I feel like the spark across the room and I don't even have to talk about it with him, then I might like tweak something and be like, okay, well, we're not making roasted broccoli with the salmon tonight. We're going to make green beans. Like,
okay.
It's that easy. It's usually just one thing you got to swap out. It's usually not a whole meal.
So it's almost like a Whole30. We talked about this during a skincare episode as well. The toolkit's really coming down to diet a lot. Mm-hmm. And again, before surgery, before medications, what's your diet? What's your exercise? What's your sleep? What are you doing every single day?
Yeah.
What are the behavioral things you can modify before you ask someone to take a knife to your insides?
Truly. Same with ass sex.
Same with ass sex. That actually was specifically about ass sex. So for someone who is new to bottoming, they now know to get to know their body in relation to diet. They know to take it slow.
Oh my God, so slow.
They've met Mr. Right on an app. Mm-hmm. And they're either going to head over to their house or cook them dinner. What else? How else do they prepare for this?
Right. So if you want to douche.
Because it's not like in Brokeback Mountain.
No.
It's not just like, toot, toot, here we go.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah. I actually have that scene queued up to like talk about every single part that was wrong in it. And again, beans might not be a trigger food for you. It might have not been for Jake Gyllenhaal.
Do you remember the old radio shows where they'd have all like the sound effects queued up on their keyboard, like loser, just all Brokeback Mountain sounds.
Oh my God!
But your podcast,
that one, like I think like so some people really can just do that can go straight into the tent, like in Brokeback Mountain.
I know my body.
Yeah, and some people really do know their body. I have a big like I can't stand when people shame people that say that, because I'm like, no one knows your body more than you know your body. All you have to do is go in the bathroom and put a finger up yourself, and if it comes out clean, you are most likely clean.
Kind of like an engine. If you don't see oil, you should add oil. It's the opposite problem.
Yeah, so it's the same with anal sex. It's called the dipstick method. So you can put a finger or a toy up your butt, and if it comes out pretty clean, you're most likely good to go, because poop is not stored in your rectum. It's stored in your sigmoid colon, which is very high up. And I can talk about this stuff all day. I love anatomy. So this is like, that's kind of where you need to really know yourself, is that if douching is for you or not. Typically, you know your bowel regularity. And if you've already had a bowel movement today and it was really great, and you did the dipstick method before Mr. Right came over and it came out clean and all that, you might not need to douche at all. If you want to, because you feel like you just want that extra level of security, less is best when it comes to douching. This is like half my platform now. Because over douching is what we've learned. Over douching is so bad for you. First off, it's all we've learned how to do as queer people for decades. It's like you go into these adult stores, and the only douche is this giant black one
or the nozzle.
Where the nozzle's huge, and like the shower attachments are kind of problematic too, because they just go way too deep into your body. And that can throw off your bowel regularity, which just starts to create this whole cycle of spontaneity becoming harder. You have a harder time navigating your bowel regularity. So it's just like, it's less is best. You really only need to clean so much. Because anal sex, everyday sex, is happening in your rectum, and your rectum can handle pretty much up to like a 9-inch situation. A penis, it's a toy.
Up to here, right?
I mean,
Max is referencing his sternum.
Yes, I'm like, it depends on what position you're in, I guess. But if you're in, you know, I'm like, now I'm trying to like see the X-ray.
Alex is sizing Max up.
Yes, Alex is sizing Max up. Maybe it is your sternum. No, there's a lot of curving happening in your rectum and all that. So
is that ever a problem? Like if something's so large that it can it like bruise other organs?
So that's
intuitively it feels like that might happen. Is that
not
a thing?
Really. It can sometimes be really painful in a vagina because it hits the cervix and stuff. And
those are also only like 4 inches deep, right?
Actually, I'm not sure.
Oh.
I'm not sure about that one, but I do have a lot of girlfriends that I talk to on the Bottoms Digest about pain, because
all my ex-girlfriends said the big ones hurt.
Oh, I don't mean like
so
that.
So they liked mine. Okay.
Oh my God, get out. I'm like, what is that kind of star gay that's never had a girlfriend?
Gold star?
Yeah,
that's actually on its way out as well. Platinum star as well. And I learned about that this summer on my birthday in Fire Island from my bisexual girlfriend she's married to a man, but she actually has received kind of discrimination from lesbians because a lot of lesbians won't even consider a girl if she's had sex with men because there's an insecurity about them just switching back or it being a phase or whatever. And again, this doesn't speak for everybody, but it's a trend that's been happening. So I've actually started trying to eliminate the gold star stuff from my vocabulary because for men, it's kind of ironically making it seem like you're better than if you can perform these traditional acts.
I see.
Yeah,
it's obviously been erased from mine.
They're going to cancel you for saying that. No, but it's one of those words that's starting to get a little stink on it, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the gold stars. If you've never had sex, and platinum if you've never been born. If you were cesarean, if you've never touched one.
When I was 4, my mom was like shaking me and she was like, "You're gay." I'm so stoked. I'm like,
when you were a baby, she shook you as a baby.
Yeah, because I was like showing a lot of signs. Because my godmothers are lesbians, and my godmothers basically told my mom when I was like 4, they were like, "We think Alex is," and I was like, "Yes."
My dad has 6 boys and a lesbian. All the other guys are straight, but the lesbian sister is about 30 years older than me, a little less. And she came to visit after not talking to my dad for like 10 years. And she saw me prancing around the pool in a Speedo. And she's like, "Do I need to take this one? I can take this one with me. It's okay."
I'm telling you. I'm grateful. I was out my whole life. So when I say girlfriend, I mean like literal friend that is a girl. But we were talking about the cervix, I believe.
We were talking about cervixes, and
then
basically the thread we're trying to maintain here
yeah.
in our neurodivergent friendship is preparing to bottom successfully and avoid a mess if you can. And then we're going to get into what happens when that inevitably happens at some point in your life.
Right, because it will. So
that's my notes. It's just like the different stages of butt sex. So right now we're still getting ready.
So messes are so rare, but it's like getting ready. So you want to douche if you're going to, if you can, before the person comes over, because you want to give yourself time. So like, if any extra water shot up too far, it can come back out. Your body can absorb whatever's water's left.
But less is more.
Yeah, because it's not really about the water coming out while you're having sex. It's about it can hurt sometimes. It can cause like a pressure while you're having sex. So you want to do that.
You haven't eliminated all the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to like give yourself time if you are going to douche, like a solid hour before the deed, just so that you can make sure any water that's left that you thought came out is really gone. So that's kind of a big one.
Otherwise, you're going to get the nickname Puddles in the hood, and that's not what.
If anyone's giving you nicknames, you need to cancel their ass and drag them.
It's probably not the best person to be hanging out with.
Yeah, truly. Send them our way.
Unless it's like a good nickname.
Yeah, I'm using my platform lately to like really drag these motherfuckers. So
you're like calling out individuals.
Yes.
Oh, we're not
even hiding handles anymore.
It's like bad top shaming, or what are we doing here?
The ones that like bottom shame, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
great.
Yeah. But one of my favorite things to also do, I do this on my own. You can have someone that's topping you do this to you as well. But I prefer to really know that I'm good to go before I let anyone around me or around my butt is my doctor that I work with, Dr. Carlton. He's the gastroenterologist I was talking about. He has a fabulous technique called Dr. Carlton's butt clock technique. Pretend like this is
He named that after himself.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is your hole. You insert your finger in, laterally push up at 12 o'clock and hold it for 30 seconds. And then you're going to go over to 3 o'clock and push for 30 seconds, and then 6 and 9, doing that over and over and over again until you quite literally feel your anus relax. You will be shocked because you'll realize
it's a lot of muscles that work together.
You'll realize how few times you've ever let it actually relax before bottoming. So I really prefer to also do that. And that also really helps get any water out too. So those are two major ones, is like give yourself plenty of time if you are going to douche, to do it ahead of time, not to douche too long. You should never spend more than 30 minutes doing that.
30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That's what this little small little fella, small little bulb helps with.
I did want to crack one as soon as I saw it. What is this, a douche for ants? But I know better.
No.
I knew to frame it ironically before making the joke.
I am 6'1", and I use that motherfucker all the time. My husband's 6'3", and he uses it too. So it really helps because, like, for real, you don't want to get water into the sigmoid colon. There's this whole joke about douching taking forever and ever and ever. It's because you went too far and you flushed out a part of your body that no penis was ever going to go into. I talk about that all the time.
I thought it's just because people have, like, sometimes they got the bubble guts and like stuff just keeps seeming to make itself known.
And usually the bubble guts and all that is a red flag.
Actually relax things. Yeah.
That's usually a red flag. You went too far. Even if you do have that giant black douche with the giant nozzle that everyone has seen, I always tell people, if you're going to keep that, use like this much of the tip, like 3 inches of the tip. And then like, hell, even that seems like a lot, 2 inches. Less is best because it's like salt in the kitchen. Like, you can always start with less and work your way.
You can always add salt to your butthole.
Don't do that. Max,
it's like slug
it's
material,
a full-time job. Like with you. This
is why you're here.
I'm going to be like in the comments.
He's kidding. You're going to cyberbully me on your own episode.
But like, it's truly, but less is best. Seriously. Like it's harder to go back if you've done too much. Because when I've overdouched before, like I have to sit it out for an hour and then go visit it again. And before you know it, you're spending a whole damn day. Like who has time to do that anymore? So I've been selling this douche for over a year now, and we've sold over 7,000 of them, and it's been fierce to hear so like hundreds of people telling us how much time it saves them
Nice.
because we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's just anatomy. We learned this anatomy from the gastroenterologists that we work with, and it's keeping the water in the area that everyday butt stuff is going into. Now, fisting and all that's a whole different arena.
Okay. Is that a whole nother episode? Are we getting into that?
We can, but I also have a great YouTube video where I interviewed a like professional fister here in LA, actually.
I would love to know how that income stream works.
Probably fist the money out of their wallets. No, I'm just kidding. But it's really like, I'm not into fisting, so I try to interview people that are into those specific kinks that are professionals. But if everyday butt stuff is just happening in the rectum, anything beyond that, and like even like really large penises, like anything above 10 inches, which is very big, you really want to do the work to stretch out for that. But that's, even then, it's still really bad for you to be flushing out your sigmoid colon long term. There's more and more studies coming out about the ties of overdouching with higher STI rating because you flush out all the healthy bacteria that would protect you.
When you're stretching, right? So you're causing more micro fissures.
Micro tears. You flushed out all the healthy bacteria that would have protected you. Your mouth and anus have great bacterial systems that protect you. And when you're flushing it all out, that could have protected you from a little bit more from gonorrhea. And now it's gone.
Urea.
So it's like, there's that. And then like I said, bowel regularity, you've destroyed your bowel regularity with overdouching.
Okay.
Because you've become douching dependent. So like there's a lot of bad stuff with it.
So less is more. Trust your body, trust yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
I tend to be someone in life in general that is always looking for work. I'm always trying to stay ahead of it. And I have to remind myself of like, hey, this is enough. Trust your text, trust yourself.
I'm telling you,
voice.
fiber does the deep cleaning.
Okay.
And it does all the real work for you. And then a little douche will put the cherry on top. You don't need to do any more than that.
Okay. So make sure you're eating or supplementing with fiber.
Yes. Preferably eating.
Don't be dehydrated.
Don't be dehydrated ever.
Careful with other substances for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give yourself a quick check.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more with the water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Clock technique, or at least a tongue or some kind of warm up.
Yes. And then the
good top should know what they're doing.
Yeah, the tongue, and then put the finger in. Still, you should.
I would do finger then tongue personally, but
anything
just as a check.
Yeah.
I want to know that what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in promoting kind of the sex education and advocacy?
Obviously algorithms all the time. Those are like the most literal.
Are you about to get me shadow banned?
No. We're in a good place. I check my account status 8 times a day, literally no less. Because I love that I can check it. Instagram's gotten a lot better. It shows you like what you need to take down and things like that. I had a really great blowjob tutorial video that I had to take down, but whatever. But
right, because whatever they categorize as education is not always.
Yeah, can't win them all. But that's probably the biggest, and we try so hard to make it truly PG-13. So it's still annoying that those things will get flagged.
What about trolls, online hate, bullying, any of that?
But funny enough, the biggest trolls I get are not right-winger people or anything like that. It is toxic gay men. Toxic gay men. The ones that usually are like over 35.
And know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. They're so clever. So they are the ones that have given us some of the worst hate.
Right, because why would a straight person even discover your page unless they're trying to peg the boyfriend?
Yeah, I think sometimes they get really frustrated that we're talking to everyone. I think that they get I think certain demographics of gay men over the age of 35 are also dealing with misogyny that they don't even realize yet. So we have to deal with some of that sometimes, but, and I'm still going through that newfound folder on YouTube of all the hate mail. It's a
good thing you're not 6'2" and you're 6'1".
All right.
Because every comment would be 6'2" bottom, 6'2" my stomach. You've heard that one, right?
Yeah. No, I have not.
No,
but,
you're welcome. I've heard it a lot, actually. I'm not 6'2", but I've heard it. It wasn't directed at me.
I guess 1 inch off, right? It's whatever. So
I have a friend who's 6'4". He's like, Max, it's a lonely life as a tall bottom.
I mean, that is like, I'm actually, so like you showed me your list of content ideas and all that stuff. I have like a long list of like very niche sexual like videos coming up of like sex ed and all that. And one of them is like tall bottom, short top videos and like good positions for stuff like that. And because what a struggle.
Kama Sutra for the encumbered.
Yoga blocks, y'all. Yoga blocks.
Foam rollers.
With a pillow on top. Foam rollers.
For their mouths?
Cushy. Sure. So extra pillows. But I'm telling you, yoga blocks, sturdy.
I hope everybody watching is taking something away from this. Hopefully it's the thing we intended to when we started off.
Oh, yeah. They are.
Thank you so much for all of these wonderful insights. I look forward to hopefully having another chat with you in the future when we get more feedback and more questions and all kinds of stuff like that. But
thank you so much.
Every episode of this show, we have to end on a low note with a fight. Alex has selected a topic from a series of controversial topics. They have selected which stance they're going to take on the topic and what side of the argument they are going to argue. What have you selected?
I tell you, okay, so I chose Taylor Swift. And if she's a social justice warrior, something like that, or just another billionaire.
Should we cancel Taylor Swift? Fight me. First and foremost, Alex, I want to thank you so much for not making me argue against Taylor Swift. It's not that I love Taylor Swift so much. It's I fear the wrath of the Swiftie. I do not want to mess with those people. That is all your prerogative if that's something you want to do. So I'm going to start with, I'm not a big diva worshiper. I don't stan Lana or Britney or whatever, but I really do think that pop music in general has gotten so much better than it was when I was in high school. It's really nice to feel like I don't have to be a contrarian being like, why are you guys all listening to this? This sounds like crap. This is stupid. It was made by a robot. And it might be made by a robot still, but it's getting sophisticated. Like the music quality is actually better. Is she just another billionaire? Yeah. Is she using her private jet to cross the living room and grab a snack? Sure. Should we eat the rich? Of course. But as far as pop stars go, I don't mind Taylor Swift. Fight me.
Work, I will. So I was born for this moment. First off, I worked in reproductive rights during Trump's first presidency, so I'm not afraid of a Swiftie. I was in the room when Brett Kavanaugh got confirmed to the Supreme Court. I am not afraid of a Swiftie. So I appreciate what they stand for, and I do find that Taylor Swift is a great feminist. She's a very good writer. She used to be a very good country star. But I don't understand the talent all of a sudden. Like, I don't understand the hype. And I don't understand why you can't be against her also. So I recently was talking to someone that is a Swiftie. She said that she wasn't a Swiftie. And I was like, I will never understand how you all are so devoted to someone that you will never meet or never know. And how this person also dresses to pretend like she's in your social class, but isn't at all. It's like literally a PR move by her team to like put her in J. Crew. But she is just another goddamn billionaire with no taste. But she has plenty of talent, I guess.
It sounds like you were a former Swiftie and you've fallen off.
I was never a Swiftie, but her country music was good.
All right. Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree. Thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson and Jake Wachtel. Additional production by Cass Falding and Chantilly Toison. Edited by Jesse Trout and mixed by Mike Fry. Music by Tom Goss. If you like this show, don't forget to share it with your friends, subscribe on your preferred channel, or all of them, and give us a 5-star rating. It would be super, super helpful. Thank you so much to all my Patreon subscribers. You are credited in the show notes. Thank you for listening. See you next time.